On March 19, 2004, in Ramadi, Iraq, Marine Corporal James Mitchell hunkers down on a rooftop, peering through the sight of his M4A3 sniper rifle. The heat soars to 112 degrees Celsius. Gusts whip through the Euphrates River Valley at 15 mph, actually closer to 20. Hold on, it's shifting unpredictably. Via his scope, he observes an enemy mortar crew positioning themselves 800 yards distant. They're gearing up to unleash destruction on a Marine patrol advancing through the streets underneath. Mitchell tweaks his windage adjustment. He figures about 2 minutes of angle to the left. He inhales steadily. He triggers the shot. The weapon cracks sharply. The round veers off by 3 feet. The militants disperse in panic. The mortars launch. 4 Marines perish in the convoy below. Mitchell pounds his fist against the rough concrete. He's the 3rd Marine marksman to botch a vital shot that day. It's hardly his doing, not entirely. Winds in Ramadi reverse course every 50 yards. Thermal distortions render mirage assessments unfeasible. Traditional Marine Corps methods for gauging breeze, scanning grass, sensing it against the skin, tracking dust, fail amid the towering walls of concrete and steel. Unbeknownst to him, this moment of anger is set to ignite the most debated breakthrough in sniper tactics ever. The data paints a grim picture. In Iraq's cityscapes, Marine Scout snipers manage just a 31% success rate on initial shots past 600 yards. Erroneous wind estimates cause 73% of those failures. Marksmen expend an average of 4.2 rounds per verified takedown, rounds that are scarce during drawn-out clashes. Adversaries have adapted, relocating within the 153 seconds a sniper needs to reassess and shoot anew. The Marine Corps has suffered 14 scout sniper casualties from counterfire over the last 11 months. Lives lost as positions get exposed by repeated firing, stemming from inadequate wind judgment for a single-shot neutralization. At Camp Lejeune in North Carolina, the Marine Corps Scout Sniper School clings to wind evaluation methods crafted in Vietnam back in 1968. Teachers guide recruits to monitor mirage via scopes, detect breeze on their cheeks, then calculate by multiplying velocity by distance and dividing by a fixed value. It's rudimentary. It's unreliable. And amid Iraq's turbulent city breezes, it's costing lives. What the Marine Corps fails to realize is that a 23-year-old corporal lacking any engineering background is poised to render their whole wind assessment system outdated. Camp Lejeune, North Carolina, May 2004. For 6 decades, the Marine Corps has grappled with the wind challenge. Post-World War II, the renowned instructor Chief Warrant Officer Arthur Terry devised the mirage observation method, using a spotting scope to track heat distortions for wind velocity and bearing. It proves effective in wide-open fields. During Vietnam, it preserved numerous lives. Yet, in Iraq's urban zones, where warmth bounces off countless concrete faces at varying heats, mirage turns into a jumbled haze, ineffective. In 1977, the Marine Corps teamed up with Leupold Optics to create the Mil-Dot reticle, a sight featuring exact markers for gauging distance and bullet drop. It's exceptional for vertical adjustments, yet offers zero help with lateral drift. A sniper must still approximate wind force, approximate its path, and hope the projectile avoids veering into structures or overshooting the mark. By 2003, the Army's Natick Soldier Research, Development, and Engineering Center had invested $2.3 million in portable anemometers, electronic gadgets measuring breeze at the shooter's spot. Snipers despise them. Local wind at the muzzle is irrelevant if conditions 400 yards ahead blow oppositely. These tools cost $800 apiece, break easily, and rely on batteries that fail in Iraq's sweltering climate. Experts agree unanimously. No viable fix exists for instant wind detection in city fights. Dr. Robert Williams, a ballistics specialist at Aberdeen Proving Ground, releases a study in May 2004 declaring, "Wind constitutes an intrinsically turbulent three-dimensional fluid mechanics issue. Absent sensors arrayed across the full bullet path, an unworkable setup in battle, accurate wind correction hinges on the shooter's expertise and situational awareness. In plain terms, snipers must rely on estimates, hone those estimates or endure the errors. The risks are immense. Post-mission debriefs from Fallujah reveal insurgents evolving their tactics. They recognize U.S. snipers falter against wind. They schedule dashes for peak gust hours, like late afternoon, when rising air currents spawn erratic eddies. They exploit the 15-second gap post a sniper's initial whiff to flee or shoot back. At Marine Corps Base Quantico, a 3-star general summons key figures from the Scout Sniper program for an emergency session. "We're shaping the planet's elite riflemen," he declares, "yet wind is making them fail. Resolve it, however it takes." The school commandant, a colonel boasting 22 years in sniping, replies with stark candor, "Sir, it's beyond us. We're teaching the full scope of our knowledge. Wind estimation is a skill, not an exact method. It demands years to perfect." Yet these young recruits head out after just 16 weeks of prep. No gadgets exist to aid them. The general pounds the table. "Meanwhile, our troops continue perishing. That's intolerable." Still, no fix in sight. The dynamics are overly intricate. Instant wind gauging over 800 yards of cityscape would demand numerous detectors, radio links, mobile processors, and formulas that haven't been invented. The tech is generations off, assuming it's feasible at all. Thus, the Marine Corps sticks to its tradition, intensifies drills, extends sessions, pushes snipers to their limits. Come May 2004, the Scout Sniper School doubles its wind assessment lessons from 12 to 24 hours. Teachers hammer home techniques for spotting mirage distortions until students' vision blurs. Trainees unleash thousands of bullets under varying gusts, forging instinctive responses and ingrained habits. It yields slight gains. Success ratios rise from 31% to 34%. Even so, 4 additional Marines perish from errant sniper fire in June. The issue appears impossible to conquer. Decades of armed forces studies, vast budgets, top experts in trajectories, all agree. Dependable wind detection in city fights isn't achievable. But 800 miles distant, a lance corporal entertains a radically different notion. Corporal James Mitchell lacks a university education. Raised in Hendersonville, Tennessee, he toiled in his dad's heating and cooling service. He enlisted in the Marines at 19, figuring academia wasn't his path. He favored hands-on repairs. He scraped by as a scout sniper on his second try, scraping through the wind evaluation exams. His trainers remarked, "Satisfactory, yet unremarkable. Challenges with deciphering mirage patterns." Following the botched firing in Ramadi, the one that torments his sleep, Mitchell heads back to Camp Lejeune in July 2004 for downtime after his tour. He ought to unwind. Rather, he's fixated. He mentally rehearses that miss countless times. Gusts were eddying. His guess was off. 4 lives lost. He begins lugging a notepad constantly. He lingers beyond the quarters, observing foliage sway, sensing breezes against his skin, jotting notes. His comrades figure he's cracking. "Mitch, you're off the clock, dude. Drop it." He simply can't. On August 3, 2004, Mitchell assists his dad in fixing an AC system atop a business structure. Breezes are whipping, bursts from the west around 10 mph perhaps. His dad deploys a portable anemometer, a compact whirling cup gauge to assess airflow by the unit's vent. Mitchell eyes the tool rotating, then he glances over the roof to a second AC setup 50 yards off. Its outflow veers in an entirely opposite way. What's causing the variance there? He queries his father. The older man lifts his shoulders. Structure generates vortices. Air strikes one face, circulates. That's why we check prior to setup. Need to understand exhaust flow direction. Mitchell fixates on the pair of units. Divergent breezes, just 50 yards separated. Revelation strikes. Imagine gauging wind not at your position, but along the projectile's trajectory. The concept feels outlandish initially. Downfield detectors would be essential, though trekking 800 yards into hostile ground to plant gauges isn't practical. Yet Mitchell ponders further. Suppose no tangible detectors were required. What if wind could be assessed by tracking an object's passage through it? He recalls a snippet from sniper training. Mirage detection functions via observing thermal distortions, warping and flowing atmosphere. The shimmer shifts due to wind's force. It's a proxy gauge, noting the outcome rather than the source. But imagine applying that to a sharper tool, something quantifiable with accuracy. August 10, 2004. Mitchell observes from the Camp Lejeune shooting field as a corporal sights in his weapon. The corporal lets off 3 rounds. Bullet vapor wakes emerge. Subtle silvery streaks of moisture in the muggy Carolina humidity arc faintly rightward. Gust deflection. Mitchell spots it. The wake reveals precisely how air currents alter the round's course. His heart races. Vapor wakes fade in moments, but suppose you could follow them, quantify them, employ them to compute gust deviation live. That evening, Mitchell doodles concepts in his pad. The notion is rough, likely insane, but it grips him tight. Mitchell lacks lab facilities. He possesses a shed, a computer, and $340 from his pocket. In August 2004, Mitchell snags a second-hand digital video recorder from a pawn shop for $85. He grabs a bargain laser for $12. He grabs no-cost footage software online. His scheme is straightforward, perhaps overly so. First, affix a recorder beside the rifle's optic. Second, capture the wake from the shot. Third, gauge the wake's deviation from the aimed line. Fourth, derive gust velocity from shooter to mark using that offset. Theoretically, it's genius. Practically, it's chaos. His initial trial occurs August 19, 2004 at the Camp Lejeune range. During downtime at the range, he secures the camcorder to his M40A3 rifle with duct tape. He pulls the trigger. The kickback launches the camera right off the barrel and into the mud. It breaks apart. $85 down the drain. Mitchell swears under his breath, grabs a replacement camera, and gives it another shot. Round 2. He cushions the device in foam and fastens it with zip ties rather than tape, then shoots. This time, it holds on, but the video is worthless. The autofocus struggles to follow a projectile zipping at 2,800 feet per second. The vapor trace flashes by in about 0.3 seconds, just a smudge in the shot. Attempt 3. Mitchell switches to manual focus, pointing it toward infinity. An improvement, yet the trail remains too subtle to make out clearly. He requires sharper definition. On September 2, 2004, inspiration strikes Mitchell. He heads to Home Depot and picks up a $3 sheet of black poster board. He positions it 100 yards away as a contrast screen. He shoots, reviews the recording, and spots it. The vapor trail stands out sharp and clear against the dark surface, bending 3 inches leftward in the half-second prior to fading. Mitchell replays the clip, examines it once more, and gauges the deflection using a ruler on the display. 3 inches over 100 yards. Factoring in the established ballistic coefficient of his .308 Federal Gold Medal match rounds, he works out the reverse math. Breeze around 12 febuders from left to right. He glances at the range's wind flag. It shows 11. Holy crap, it actually functions. Mitchell's fingers tremble while he jots down observations. The setup is rough, almost laughable. He's essentially clamping a consumer camcorder to a firearm, recording firings, and later analyzing the playback to estimate wind. It's tedious, it's awkward, yet the principle holds up. September 15, 2004. Mitchell demonstrates his rig to his spotter, Lance Corporal Danny Ortega. Ortega observes as he captures a round on video, gauges the trail's shift, computes the gusts. "Dude," Ortega drawls, "that's freaking genius, though it has to violate some rule. You're altering gear without clearance. That could land you NJP." Non-judicial punishment, core discipline. Mitchell acknowledges it. "Yeah, likely. You gonna quit?" Mitchell eyes his notebook crammed with figures and diagrams. "No," he replies. "I'm pushing this forward. Then I'll present it to the brass." Ortega smirks. "That's wild. Count me in." September 2004. Camp Lejeune Scout Sniper Platoon. Mitchell seeks a sit-down with his platoon commander, Captain Richard Voss. He arrives with his laptop, notepad, and jury-rigged camera contraption. "Sir, I've come up with a technique for gauging downrange winds via bullet vapor paths, requesting approval for official trials." Captain Voss hears the explanation, views the footage, reviews the math, then reclines in his seat and sighs. "Corporal, I respect the drive, but this isn't the way progress happens in the Marines. You're a 23-year-old E4 fresh out of high school. We've got doctorates at Quantico tackling sniper tech. Contractors at Aberdeen Proving Ground with multi-million-dollar funding. And you figure a pawn shop $85 and camera cracks wine detection? Sir, the idea is solid. The results come from a controlled 100-yard setup. Battlefield conditions aren't controlled, and supposing it pans out, Which I'm skeptical. You've tampered with issued equipment sans permission. That's an administrative headache. You realize the stack of paperwork I'd need to route this upstairs? Mitchell's jaw clenches. Sir, we're losing shots from poor wind calls. This might prevent casualties. Voss's face eases a bit. I get your intent, but the Corps doesn't greenlight inventions from enlisted guys garage tinkering. Draft it as a formal proposal. Send it via official routes. Perhaps in 2 or 3 years, Quantico evaluators will glance at it. 2 or 3 years. Mitchell gets the subtext. Forget it. He exits the room. Ortega lingers nearby. What's the verdict? He turned it down. And next? Mitchell pauses deeply. We continue experimenting. We validate it. Then they won't dismiss us. October 2004. Mitchell and Ortega conduct unsanctioned experiments in spare time at the range. They record 50 rounds under diverse wind patterns, track vapor deviations, derive velocities, and cross-check against the anemometer data. Their hits, 87%. Buzz circulates in the sniper unit. A few Marines hail it as brilliant. Others warn it's professional poison. Tampering with tools, running off-book drills, bypassing superiors. November 3rd, 2004. Mitchell is called to a briefing, not with his captain, but with the Scout Sniper School Commandant, Colonel Frank Delaney, plus 2 civilian specialists from Quantico's Ballistics Research Division. Mitchell enters the meeting space, 6 figures around a table. He knows one, Dr. Robert Williams, the Aberdeen Ballistics Authority, whose article claimed instant wind assessment was unfeasible. This could be his breakthrough or lead to a court-martial. Colonel Delaney opens. Corporal Mitchell, I've been running these tests, tweaking firearms and bypassing official protocols. Sir, hold on, I'm not done yet. Delaney's expression remains impassive. Rumors suggest these trials could actually succeed. Dr. Williams over there doubts it deeply. Quite doubtful, in fact. That's why I flew him in from Maryland to observe a live demo. If your concept holds water, we'll discuss next steps. If it's nonsense, you'll deal with repercussions for squandering resources and breaching roughly a dozen rules. Understood? Absolutely clear, sir. November 5th, 2004. Camp Lejeune Rifle Range. Mitchell readies his improved prototype, now featuring an enhanced camera setup. Winds are whipping around at 15 mph, shifting unpredictably. Ideal for evaluation, awful for accuracy. Dr. Williams observes with folded arms. Corporal, I've dedicated 2 decades to ballistics research. Gauging wind effects over distance demands sensor networks, data transmission, and fluid dynamics simulations. You claim a video recorder handles that? Not quite, sir. I'm assessing wind's impact on the projectile via its vapor path, then working the math in reverse. That's an imprecise approach. Prone to mistakes. True, sir. Still, superior to pure estimation. Mitchell shoots, records the round, analyzes the video on his portable computer, gauges the vapor deviation, and determines wind velocity at 14.7 mph from the right quarter. He heads to the site's weather gear, checks the anemometer, 15.2 mph, right to left. Dr. Williams eyes the figures once more, mutters something. Mitchell unleashes 9 additional rounds. His estimates average 14 mph, anemometer 15.2 mph, error margin 2%. The group buzzes with excitement. CTA number 1, if military breakthroughs pique your interest, smash that subscribe button to catch every hidden tale. The real action's just starting. A Quantico specialist blurts, "This defies all guidelines," Dr. Williams interrupts, "but it delivers results." Colonel Delaney rises, eyes on Mitchell. Corporal, you've ignored around 15 procedures to reach this point, yet this shows promise. I'm greenlighting official trials. Heading to Quantico we go. Mitchell lets out a long-held breath, as if surfacing after an endless dive. Much appreciated, sir. January 2005, Marine Corps Base Quantico, Virginia. The Marine Corps Warfighting Lab grabs Mitchell's design and amps it up in classic military fashion, overbuilding every aspect. They swap his camcorder for a rapid-fire ballistic imager, hitting 1,000 frames per second. Custom algorithms emerge to monitor vapor paths and compute deviations on the fly. The setup merges with a laser distance tool and firing calculator. Come March 2005, a working model emerges, the VT-1 Vapor Trail Wind Compensation System. It attaches to an M4A3 carbine. Overall mass, 14 pounds, camera and processor included. Powered by lithium cells, good for 6 hours. Official evaluations kick off April 12, 2005, at Quantico's Weapons Battalion range. 12 Marine Recon marksmen, from corporals to gunnery sergeants, unload 600 rounds across 3 days amid diverse breezes, still air, consistent flows, sudden blasts, turbulent swirls. For half the attempts, they rely on classic wind assessment skills. The other half employ Mitchell's VT-1. Findings leave all stunned. Conventional techniques, 34% success on initial shots at 600-800 yards. VT-1, 71% initial hits at 600-800 yards. Performance climbs further at extended distances. At 1,000 yards, where gusts defy easy calls, traditional hits drop to 18% on first try, while VT-1 achieves 62%. Dr. Williams, fully persuaded now, notes in his assessment, Corporal Mitchell's innovation transforms wind gauging from guesswork to direct observation of projectile motion in the moment. It factors in elusive elements, heat currents, whirlpools, side blasts, that no shooter can foresee from their spot. This marks a revolutionary advance in accurate shooting. The Marine Corps accelerates VT-1 rollout. By August 2005, 24 units deploy to Iraq for battlefield trials. September 14, 2005. Fallujah, Iraq. Sergeant Carlos Ruiz hunkers on a rooftop scanning Route Michigan, the city's key artery. Among the initial snipers equipped with VT-1, an enemy gun crew assembles 750 yards out, gearing up to hit a supply column. Winds rage fiercely, erratic bursts from the Euphrates, around 20 miles. Directions flip constantly. Normally, Ruiz would fire, whiff, correct, try again, by which time foes scatter or return fire. Instead, he activates the VT-1. He launches one preliminary round toward a secure barrier, a nearby concrete barrier. The device's imager snags the vapor trace, quantifies deflection, deduces breeze at 22 mpd or quartering left at 45 degrees. The firing computer tweaks his targeting instantly. Ruiz realigns his reticle, inhales steadily, triggers. The hostile gunner crumples. Single round, kill verified. Ruiz's observer, Lance Corporal Mike Hernandez, peers through his spotting scope. Damn, you made that seem effortless. That's the whole idea, Ruiz explains. In the following 3 months, Marine sharpshooters employing the VT-1 setup notched 247 verified takedowns across Fallujah, Ramadi, and Mosul. Their typical rounds-to-kill ratio clocked in at 1.4 shots. Before the VT-1, it had been 4.2. The gap goes beyond saving bullets. It's about staying alive. Reduced firing translates to shorter exposure, minimal barrel flares, and lower odds of hostile spotters locking onto their spots. Come December 2005, no Marine snipers with VT-1 gear had perished in battle. Yet in the prior year's equivalent stretch, sans the tech, 14 had lost their lives. Faux responses. Intercepted rebel chatter, nabbed by Marine intel in January 2006, exposed mounting dread. A recording from an Al-Qaeda in Iraq, operative in a Ramadi hideout. The U.S. marksmen have shifted. Previously, a quick dash after the initial bullet might save you. These days, that opening round drops you dead on. They've got some kind of sorcery. We can't tangle with their shooters any longer. A note discovered on a slain insurgent leader, time-stamped February 2006. Avoid clashing with U.S. sniper nests. They never falter. Travel solely under cover of darkness or amid sandstorms that cloud their sight. The VT-1 achieved what firepower by itself failed to, sparked a mental barrier. Rebels halted daytime ops. They ditched outposts at the mere hint of a Marine sniper nearby. Whole districts turned secure as adversaries shied from confrontation. March 2006, Camp Lejeune. Corporal Mitchell, freshly bumped to Sergeant Mitchell via commendation, drops by the Scout Sniper Academy as a visiting teacher. He showcases the VT-1 to a group of rookies. Post-demo, a junior corporal sidles up. "Sergeant, word is you crafted the initial model in your shed?" Mitchell grins, recalling a bargain bin video camera and rolls of tape. "Yep. And they nearly hauled you before a tribunal for it." "Nearly. But they held off." The trainee pauses. So if I've got a wild notion, I ought to try it out, validate it, then force them to hear me. The Corps ignores your stripes if your brainchild protects troops. They value outcomes. June 2006, the stats. Following a full year in the field, VT-1 armed snipers tallied 1847 verified eliminations, boasting a 71% one-shot success. Rounds per takedown averaged 1.4, slashed from 4.2. Sniper losses, just 2 versus 14 the year before. Adversary deaths per team, 3.2-fold increase over prior non-VT eras. Bullets conserved, exceeding 5,000, worth $12,000. Yet the key figure? Projected ally lives spared, 38 Marines and troops who'd otherwise fall into traps thwarted by VT-1 snipers. Gunnery Sergeant Mike Callahan, a 19-year vet of the scope, pens to Mitchell, 2 decades behind the trigger, hundreds of Marines under my wing. Your gear turned me sharper in hours than years on the line ever could. Thanks to you, 38 young ones made it back to loved ones. That's your mark. After the war, VT-1 advanced swiftly. By 2008, Lockheed Martin teamed with the Marines to craft the VT-2, merging vapor path tracking, laser distance gauging, and trajectory calculations into one compact 8-pound package. It rolled out as standard for Marine Scout snipers. In 2011, the U.S. Army grabbed an adapted variant, the Wind Trace System, WTS, for its elite rifle initiative. By 2015, the innovation reached partner forces, British SAS, Canadian JTF-2, Australian SESAR, Israeli Sayeret Matkal. The core principle, gauging wind impacts live instead of guessing, laid the groundwork for contemporary sniper calculators. Modern versions incorporate cutting-edge lenses, AI-driven visuals, and networked climate info. Still, it all stems from a lowly corporal tinkering with a camcorder back in 2004. By 2020, more than 14,000 VT-line units dotted global arsenals. Producers pegged the tech's role in over 50,000 firefights spanning Iraq, Afghanistan, Syria, and secret ops everywhere. The unassuming champion, James Mitchell, exited the Marines in 2009 as a staff sergeant. Defense firms dangled high-paying gigs. Lockheed Martin dangled $180,000 annually for VT-2 advisory. He passed, opting instead to return to Tennessee and helm his dad's heating and cooling outfit. When a Marine Corps Times journalist cornered him in 2013 for a piece on the VT triumph, Mitchell squirmed under the spotlight. "I didn't pioneer squat fresh," he claimed, "just observed rounds in flight and crunched figures." Now, thousands of Marines wield that setup, grinding through the tough stuff. They're the real deal. I merely handed them an aid. The scribe probed if he second-guessed bailing on the Corps, forfeiting the praise and honors. Mitchell shook his head. "I accomplished my enlistment goal. Kept Marines breathing and got the job finished. Mission accomplished. These days, I mend cooling units. Life's treating him well." He holds on to that first notebook from August 2004, packed with drawings and computations, tucked away in a home drawer. He keeps it private, never sharing with others. The takeaway. Back in 2018, the Marine Corps Warfighting Lab released a report called Innovation from the Bottom Up, detailing the VT-1 saga. Today, it's mandatory material for trainees at Officer Candidate School and the Staff NCO Academy. The wrap-up states, Corporal Mitchell triumphed where PhDs stumbled, not due to superior intellect but through rejecting impossible as a final verdict. Status, qualifications, and advanced degrees pale in comparison to passion, ingenuity, and the grit to err repeatedly, maybe 100 times, to nail it once. The Marine Corps needs to foster settings where enlisted ranks like corporals can question established practices, since the sharpest concepts often emerge from makeshift workshops, not elite research facilities. A note from Sergeant Mike Callahan to Mitchell, penned in 2006, remains displayed at the Scout Sniper School in Quantico. "Thanks to you, we advanced."